My heart swells as he begins. I'm surprised I didn't get anything from Teo. That's really weird. Or Queen Bee. Because I was pretty high with... Oh, whatever. It's fine. As long as I got Percy as the last person, that's all that matters. Above all, you're my dearest love, Hark. I'd assumed that love was outside the scope of my life, that I couldn't possibly burden someone with my short years in that way. You taught me that I still have much to live for. I don't know how long we have together, but happy or sad, angry or glad, I fully intend to live out those days with you. All of us love you, in one way or another, and I'll carry on loving you, past this intervention and beyond. Count on it. I'm speechless. Seems Hark has some thinking to do. This is pretty normal for him when he gets that faraway look. Shall we begin the wake for Francine then? There's cake and coffee and spirits from the bar. It is really weird that I didn't get anything from Teo and Queen Bee. Teo at least I totally should have gotten. I can understand if Queen Bee because I was so low, but I was just as low with Ashley. So it's really weird. Yeah, that's really weird. Queen Bee I was even higher than Ashley. But anyway. Shall we begin the wake? Francine, there's cake and coffee and spirits from the bar. Cake! As if in slow motion, I watched them all switch their attention to me and redirect it towards the refreshments. They're all smiling, conversing, and serving cake to each other. None for me, thank you. Watching the blood sugar. This cake is amazeballs. All we need now are some rockin' tunes to get this party on the next level. All of them here to support me, even without the funplex. Even after everything going wrong, after Francine being taken from us too soon. I never really thought of myself as central in all of this. I was the outsider at first, the one who walked in those doors looking for a job, nothing more. I've always been on the outside, honestly. Moving from town to town, always the new kid, never really important to anyone. Not until I'd settled in one place, just long enough to get to know Juniper. But by then, I'd come to expect that I'd never be happy. So when I finally was happy, and that got taken away, well, I guess I'd assume that's how things go, going with the flow. But now, I don't want this to end. I want to feel like celebrating again. Change is inevitable, and I can adjust. The game isn't over. I want to feel like celebrating again. All work and no play makes Hark a dull angel. All sorrow and no joy makes Hark a true angel. Maybe I don't want to be a true angel. Maybe I want to laugh again for real. Not hollow and harsh, the laugh of the dying. I need to laugh at it all, without hating it. So I laugh. Which earns me a few worried he just lost it looks. You're right, we should celebrate. Celebrate Francine's life, and celebrate what we had at the Funplex. We did good, you know? We did real good. That worth raising the glass to. I don't know why they decided to give us the Joker smile. The Joker Cheshire Cat smile, but that's fine. Who's with me? Smiles all around. And you know what? It feels good to be back. For the next hour or so, my sadness fades away, piece by piece. We share stories, many of which I'd never heard before, about the Funplex and the shenanigans that went on around it. Surprisingly, Ben and Matt spin the most tales about Francine's exploits. They've been neighbors for decades. The so-called Waketervention gives us all a chance to heal and to bond. For all we lost, and all we still have, we are still together. Despite one little problem which nobody wants to talk about. The hours grow late, and we only have this place rented out for the afternoon. I can feel it in the air, that unspoken worry. Will we see each other again? No doubt we can arrange more get-togethers, but they'd all be reunions after what we lost, not really building anything new. Nostalgia, not progress. Without the Funplex, without Francine, will we eventually simply fall away? The dark little thought troubles me as I swirl my drink, remaining quiet while the others talk. Hark. Iris? Sup? I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, me too. I'm glad too. So, do you want me to start finding you a new job? I can search while you're talking with your friends. No problem. I do need to get back to living my life. But what sort of life do I want to live? I want my dream back. I want a new job. I want my dream back. 'Cause I want you back. I don't just want a new job. I want my dream. My Funplex. Not just 4 walls and a bunch of games, but a community. When I was a lifeguard, I'd save lives. I don't know how I did that without knowing how to swim. I made a safe place for people to enjoy the pool with friends. I'm not done with that dream, and more importantly, I don't have to be done with it. All around me are pioneers of this community, this culture. Technicians, designers, enthusiasts, investors, people with connections. And that's when the idea starts to form. Iris, can you search for commercial spaces, ones for lease or rent? Huh. Of course, I'm a literal search wizard. Why? Oh, I think I get it. I step away from my quiet corner and approach the group. It's time to take back control over my dream, and that starts here. Who's up for Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo? I like to keep sharing my dream with you. Why can't we open a new arcade? That's stopping us. So this is it. We're letting Deco win. Who's up for Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo? Hey gang, here's a wacky idea. We act like a creatively bankrupt Hollywood and crank out a sequel. But in our case, it's a sequel to the Funplex. The crowd hushes when I grab their attention. I set my drink aside and step up to them. I'm not ready to let this party stop, so I'm not gonna. I'm opening up my own arcade, a sequel to outshine the original. What do you think? Are you really ready to walk away from all this? Or do you want to take the ridiculous option and make this happen? A hush falls over the crowd before 2 step up to join me. I'm down with ridiculous. Life's no fun if it's not ridiculous. Our own arcade, an arcade made by us, with everything we could want in an arcade. The more I think about it, the more I love it. It's a tempting prospect. My crew still needs a new home, and I'd rather it be one spearheaded by Hark than anyone else. You've shown nothing but support for our community. So I'm game if you are. You've got my thanks, both of you. Okay, this is no longer a Waketervention, people. Now it's a conspiracy.
A Waketervention.
Yeah, I wasn't even clever to think of that one. It's a Waketervention. Sure, why not? We settle down around a table, a nice round one, to discuss the future. I'm leading the show, but I don't take the spotlight. Not this time. We all have to work together to make this dream a reality. This is it. The next few decisions are going to be critical in shaping the future I have in my mind's eye. I'll need to choose very, very careful because there's no take-backsies. Iris is looking for spaces we can use, but we're going to need money, obviously, and arcades are risky startups. I could always respond to one of my many Nigerian princes emailing me amazing offers, but I'm thinking more traditional funding is safer. Way I see it, there's 4 people here who could foot the bill to get us off the ground. Hamza, you've got a tangled web of connections in the industry, access to games, and plenty of cash. And a freewheeling whimsy to spend it. Hamza is a man of resources indeed. Percy, you've been building a charity war chest for when you pass. I know an arcade isn't a sound investment and is hardly a charity. I mean, that is what he said. Percy did say that. But you promised me Mr. Moopy would always have a home. If I can help restore that home, I'm game, love. Ben and Matt, you two know how to run a small business. You've got invaluable knowledge and resources we could draw from, if you're willing to dip a toe in this industry. We have been looking for new horizons to conquer, new lands to explore.
There would be caveats,
Terms,
conditions,
exemptions,
I love these two.
rules,
guidelines,
best practices.
worst practices.
That's not a thing.
Oh,
I love those two.
Hamza would likewise have conditions. As would I.
Understandable, of course. Let me hear your thoughts, then I'll decide. I love all 3 of these. I love Hamza, I love Ben and Matt, and of course I obviously love Percy. But I want to hear what their conditions are. This is super cool, I like this. Decision number 1, funding and direction. In order for me to... this is really cool. I'm really loving this. These feel like really huge, impactful decisions. In order for me to back your play, Hamza would require you to strike at the very heart of Dekonami's empire and open a family restaurant alongside your arcade. Take from him the very business he adores so much. As a foodie, I love this. As a foodie, heck yes. We don't know the first thing about running a restaurant. Thankfully, your business partner does. I own several restaurants. I would provide staffing and resources. After the horrendous service from Deco's Palace, heck yeah. I'm already sold, but I want to hear the other two too. But so far, this is a huge starting offer.
No risk, no reward.
Now this is a risky play, but if it succeeds, the rewards shall be tremendous. Actually, that's similar to what Matt and I had in mind. Oh yes, but rather than a restaurant, well, we'd like to open a barcade. I've always wanted to run a bar. I'd raise a glass to that idea. After all, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Now, it wouldn't be nearly as large scale as a family restaurant. Much safer. Yeah, I like barcades, but I kind of want it to be something that's more family oriented, and a restaurant is more family oriented than a barcade. Much safer. Not quite as profitable, but still quite tidy. Honestly, if I'd prefer you simply ran a video arcade and nothing more. Adding one extra seems like a recipe for failure. We know how to operate a simple small-scale arcade, so why not stick with our strengths? Right, Percy doesn't want it to be too risky. I'll grant it has a lower ceiling for success than the others. It's just an arcade. I won't pull in anybody looking for more. Low risk, low reward. But I'd say that would be my condition. We need to stick to the basics. So, take the big gamble in a family restaurant, or make a cozy little barcade, or just go with the classic video arcade. The foodie in me has to go with the restaurant. The decision is going to affect the entire direction of the new adventure. What do I want? What's my dream? My dream, Hamza, let's steal Deco's restaurant business. That has nothing to do with Deco. Nothing to do with Deco. I just think it'd be cool to run a restaurant. I'm a big, again, the foodie needs to go where, this is my dream. That's part of my dream. Hamza, let's steal Deco's restaurant business. Ben and Matt, let's open a barcade. Percy will make the finest video arcade ever. Hamza, I think we can do business. We'll make a combination of arcade and family restaurant. Such is the iron will of Hamza. You will not regret this. A bit disappointing, but we'd still be happy to lend a hand where we can. Absolutely. Yes, I still have Ben and Matt, and of course, I still have my boo. Having Mr. Moopy available for families to enjoy would be nice, actually. See, Percy actually is warming up to the idea, and that means I'm more confident in my decision. Okay, the second thing we need to talk about is what sort of games we want to focus on. The Fun Flex did a little bit of everything, and we will too. We want to include all gamers, especially because we have a restaurant. If we're having a restaurant, we want it to be family friendly. But we can also highlight one style of play or another. Really provide best-in-class gaming for a specific audience. Any thoughts? Decision number 2, the game focus. Retro games. It's got to be all about retro games. You know, I'm capable of keeping those older games in tip-top shape. If we focus on retro games, we could serve an audience that Deco's completely ignoring. Yeah, but the thing is, if we're gonna have a restaurant, we're gonna have kids, you know, because it's a family restaurant. And kids, they appreciate the retro games, but many of them also like the newer titles. So the mix is what I'm going for. If we're gonna do the restaurant, I feel like the mix makes the most sense, considering who our audience is. But let's see what these other people have to say. I would agree with Miss Fairchild. Retro games are an untapped market. I'll grant it wouldn't pull in as much profit, but we know gamers are seeking them. We don't have to make all the money, just enough to keep our pure and untainted dream afloat. And we can do that with a well-curated retro game library. Retro's cool and all, but let's talk esports games. They'll draw money better than jamming a magnet up your A and dragging you through Fort Knox. Get a couple good fighters, more than one FOD, come race and dance games, the kind of stuff where folks can compete head-to-head, and we're golden. I have to agree with Queen Bee. You can play retro games on emulators and consoles, but you can't duplicate the community experience of an arcade at home. If we had an esports focus, we could build something together which works as a second home for all sorts of gamers. That is more universal. I do agree, that is definitely more universal. I think you know what I'm going to suggest. Redemption and prize games. They provide excellent profits. It's the core of Deco's business model, yes, but I think if we focus on those games, we can do them right. No predatory pricing, no scams or ripoffs. And the truth is, most people enjoy them, from kids wanting to win that big prize to the wistful adults recapturing their childhood dreams of playing skee-ball on the boardwalk. They're simple to play and, most of all, fun. If they're done right, we can make meaningful memories for everyone. And prizes! Did I mention the prizes? We can stock the shelves with the coolest prizes around, better than Deco's prizes, which fall apart 2 minutes after you get them. Which matches my ideal arcade more? We'll have all three, sure, but do we emphasize retro games, esports, or prize games? This one's a little bit harder, because I'm right now, I'm going less on the retro, because I do want this to be more pleasing to everyone. We'll have great esports, and esports seems cool, but they're not for everyone either. Because yeah, the younger generation loves esports, but I'm worried about the older generation, you know? The older generation tends to favor more retro, the younger generation tends to favor more esports, and if we're doing like a restaurant-based place, I feel like we want to do something that is more universal. And as Gavin Ashley said, it's good universally for all ages, kids and adults alike. Because we're doing the whole restaurant thing. If it was a barcade, I would have gone retro. If it was a barcade, you know? But because we're doing a restaurant, we'll do prize games the right way. Let's show the world that Deco's price gouging games are a thing of the past and make a well-balanced prize game system. I shall do my best to support a healthy game economy and keep the kids happy. Don't forget about those sweet prizes, Gavin. Thanks for believing in us, Hark. It's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm still getting things from people. That's cool. Okay, so that's money and games. Now, let's go beyond what we already had at the Funplex. Let's really make this something special. Decision number 3, new projects. I want a defining feature for arcade, one which will make it stand out, something nobody else is doing, some things nobody's even thought of before. All ideas on the table. If it was too outlandish for the Funplex, it's not too outlandish for me. Show me what you got. Well, I mean, I'm not really part of this, but come on, you're my best friend and 100% part of this. I couldn't be here in this moment if it wasn't for you. Go on, Juniper, what's your idea? Branding. I'm freelancing now, which means I could come on board as your professional brand manager. One heck of a consulting gig. An arcade needs really stellar image management to stand out from the rest, like the event poster I made for you. Oh, hey Juniper, I can add to that. What if we work together? I was thinking of designing a new mascot costume anyway, but I could collaborate and coordinate with you on how it'll tie into the visuals for the rest of the arcade. Yeah, it's a winning combination. Ashley and I can do great work together coming up with some really stellar branding and marketing. We'll stand out in a crowd. Yeah, branding and marketing is very important. As someone who works at a company myself, where branding and marketing is a major department for us, I 100% agree. I know exactly what sort of project I want us to support. Streamer support. Assembling and packing away my streaming rig each day is ridiculous, and duct taping a webcam in front of a screen is a lousy hack. If I could just step right up to a game and, I don't know, swipe a card or something and be streaming with a direct feed in seconds, well, I can think of a dozen streamers who just flocked to our place to get a piece of that. Actually, I think I know how we could do that. I could rig up a general purpose daughter board which plays man in the middle with a video feed, works with an RFID reader to get streamers' info, ties to a central video encoder on the Wi-Fi network. Yeah, I can make that happen, and without damaging any classic hardware. Once more in English, please. I know software, not hardware. We stick a thingy in the thingy and everything works just fine. Yeah, that's... Stick a thingy in the thingy. Queen Bee understands that, I'm sure. I'm sure there's some legal and copyright issues to tackle, but if we can do it, let's be the world's first streaming arcade. I was thinking, well, the reason why older games are considered a dead end is that they don't work in the ticket game ecosystem. Why not add ticket output to normal games? We could reward skilled players with prize tickets based on their high score or speed of completion, With the bright balancing, we could make old games just as desirable as new ones. As Naomi said, there may be legal hurdles to clear, but I'm in favor of this idea. It's not that I love prize games, I find them boring personally. You know I favor pinball, but profit is the lifeblood of an arcade, and prize games are profitable. If we can get Moopy producing tickets, well, that's something nobody's ever done before. Interesting, but as much as I'd love to do all three, I doubt we have the money or time for that. Let's focus on one project to launch our arcade with. Do we want to have really good branding, or streamer support, or retrofit tickets on old games? I mean, they're all great. The one that I'm least trying to narrow it down by trying to narrow it down a little bit by process of elimination. The streaming idea is really cool and it does sound really cutting edge, but I'm not like that keen on it over. I'm not that keen on it over branding. So branding kind of at least is above the streaming. Then we can make tickets work better. That's cool, but we're already like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I want to emphasize the prizes. That's the thing, I don't want our place to be focused on just the prizes, because I want there to be games that you just play for fun and not have to worry about the tickets or the prizes, you know? So I think the smartest thing to do, the very practical thing to do, especially because we're taking a risk, we're having a big risk with doing a restaurant, I think the safest thing to do to make sure that we are profitable and we are healthy is to have good branding. We need to have good marketing and branding. Juniper and Ashley, get to work on our branding. We need to stand out from the pack. That means strong graphic design and a great mascot. Can't think of anyone better suited than Juniper and Ashley. Yeah, you won't regret this, Hark. I got ideas. I'll make the ultimate cosplay, my masterpiece, my Mona Lisa. You just wait and see. One more thing. Final decision, the name. If this is going to be my baby, my dream arcade, I've got a name already in mind for it. So barring any objections, I'd like to welcome you all to Arcade Spirits. It is the name of the game, but I don't. If I was playing through this game, like, I don't know if Arcade Spirits would necessarily jump out. So why can't it just be Funplex 2 like Boogaloo? Like, why can't it be Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo? I want it to be Funplex. I want it to be Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. That was a really good idea when he first did it. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. I also was thinking about calling it like Stella's, like the Stellaplex in honor of Percy's sister, but I don't know. That would have been more because I'm partial towards making Percy happy. So I like Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. There's just something about that that's just a great ring to it. I was being 100% serious when I brought it up. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Is that right? That works. That works. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. The Funplex was our home, and it can be again. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. I like it. We can work with that. Let's hear it for Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Our home lives again. How exciting. Yeah. A toast then. One by one, everyone raises their glasses. I fetch my room temperature drink and raise mine high in turn. For those we lost and those we've yet to meet, let's do this right. Together we can accomplish anything. Now let's get super drunk. For those we've lost and those we've yet to meet. For those we've lost and those we've yet to meet. For Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo and the future. For Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. It's just fun to say. Funplex, it's a long name, but it's a fun, long name. Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. I can't believe I actually was able to do. The last one was 12 characters long. This was 30. And I'm like, I'm taking advantage of the 30 characters. Losing everything, then getting it all back, and then some. It's been a roller coaster of a week, to be sure. But I can't rest now. Absolutely not. I need to take charge of this project and my life in general. I have to do for them what Francine did for us. That's okay. I'm ready. I'm willing. And this is our time. Wow, this is a long level. You've cleared level 6 of Arcade Spirits. A winner is you. Now let's see your score. You're proving to be gentle, sweet, and compassionate, soul. Also, you scored 300 points. Woo! Shops in the volcano devastated city of Pompeii bear the characteristics. Shops in the volcano devastated city of Pompeii bear the characteristics of a pizzeria. That's a neat, if a bit depressing, pizza fact just for you. Do you want to save your game before proceeding to level 7? Yes, please. Alright. Wondering what's going to happen next. Oh, this is exciting. I'm wondering, can you make bad decisions? Can you make a bad combination of decisions? I'm assuming you can. Or do they make it so that it doesn't really matter what decision you make? You can just create your own arcade in whatever way you want, and it'll still turn out okay. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to find out. Okay, level 7. Let's take a look. New Game Plus. I like that, because it was Game Over and then it's New Game Plus. Yeah, awesome, awesome. It's the distant future, 20XX. And for the first time, I'm entirely in control of my destiny. I'm no longer merely working in arcade now, I'm working on my future. Which, admittedly, still involves working in an arcade, but still, my future. I'll admit, it feels weird. I've grown so used to going with the flow, letting life batter and bruise me, that having a true and honest hand on the controls is a bit terrifying. Everyone's counting on me to keep the flame of Miss Francine's Funplex alive as we move into the era of Funplex 2, Electric Boogaloo. And well, honestly, I'm super anxious about it all. I want this to be perfect. I will make it so. It's going to be fine. It has to be. I'm a perfectionist. I want this to be perfect. I will make it so. My hands are on the controls, and I intend to steer this ship true. They're relying on me to be as the steady rock in the chaos of this new project, so that's what I have to be. I'll make them all proud of me, and proud to be part of Funplex 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's a long name, but it's so fun to say. If there's one driving reason to make Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo work, it's Percy. Aww. It's to give him a home away from home after the fall of the Funplex. This will be ours, and I'm not going to settle for anything less no matter what it takes. Now all that's left is to get through opening day without incident. I arrived early that morning to go over any last-minute preparations and make sure everything is in order. Plus, Junifer was sick of watching me pace back and forth at home after breakfast. So she lovingly shoved me out of the apartment and told me to be productive. Now I stood in awe of the building, the dream I poured my heart and soul into. I still barely believed it myself. I paused for a moment to let the reality finally hit me, and then stepped into my destiny. Pushing open the doors to Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo, I was greeted by relative peace and quiet, just the beeps and boops and people moving about doing last-minute preparations. This looks so snazzy. Oh my gosh, this looks great. We traveled along an arduous road ever since the great Waketervention. Gavin secured us a great rental space, an abandoned pizza place with that all too familiar triangular roof. Nobody else wanted it, but we didn't care about the funny shape. Quirk is in our favor. Yeah, we want to stand out. I really couldn't have done all the renovations this place needed without the help of our financial benefactor. Hazma proved true to his word, fronting us as much money as we needed to make this happen. Now we've got a family restaurant and arcade to rival Deco's Palace. Well, okay, it's very small compared to Deco's Palace, but quality over quantity. We went with a familiar layout, if it ain't broke and all that, to show that we've still got the spirit and passion that made the Funplex great. But it's not all a carbon copy. We've got a few new additions that Francine would even be proud of.